Hello and welcome to the Bears Huddle podcast with me, your host Aaron James Chandler, brings you your UK take on your Chicago Bears as we head towards the NFL draft, towards the NFL season, towards everything that is upcoming in what promises to be an exciting year for the Bears. We're going to talk in this video a little bit about Caleb Williams and how, look, it feels like, last year he was kind of left a little bit to get on with it and kind of seen as been, well, you go save the franchise, Caleb. You go and do it for us. And, look, he tried, he worked, he did really, really well, but he was always up against it, had an awful offensive line that had him running for his life. He got beat up probably more times than he's ever been in his entire career, certainly something he wasn't used to in high school or college. And, he certainly didn't get, I don't think, the level of coaching that he needed from Matt Eberflus and his staff at all. And I think this year there's a lot of things now in place to help Caleb to develop into the quarterback we all, know he can be and hope he can be. I think he is certainly a supreme talent and someone hopefully who can go on to be one of the best in the game. Now, like I said, last season he was under a lot of pressure. He really genuinely was. He was put under, a lot of pressure to, first of all, be the saviour of the franchise and also as well to, kind of run for his life due to the fact that the offensive line last season was so genuinely dreadful. I mean, here's some stats from last season for you. He had the most unblocked pressures of any NFL quarterback last season, 105 unblocked pressures. So 105 times he was put under pressure by a man who was not blocked by a woeful offensive line. Add into that as well that he was also had the most unblocked sacks. So free runs on your quarterback given up 13 times. That's right, 13 times. Pretty woeful from the Bears. But look, I think, you look at the work that Ryan Poles has done on the offensive line this offseason, bringing in some absolute supreme talents. There is some real quality in this Chicago Bears offensive line now, and you've got to obviously praise Ryan Poles for the work that he's done and quite clearly seen that something needed to be done, improvements needed to be made, and he's gone out and made them. You look at that offensive line now, and it is a light years from where it was last season. Obviously, Darnell Wright, we certainly hope that Darnell Wright can develop and become the right tackle that we genuinely hope that he is potentially when we drafted him. Dan Rauschar, the new offensive line coach, will be working with him and hopefully developing him massively. Jonah Jackson, Drew Dolman, Joe Tooney brings massive experience, of course. Obviously, still question marks over Braxton Jones, but that could be something that is addressed in the draft. Possibly if someone like Armand Membu falls or someone of that ilk, it could be the Bears go for someone like that. But that offensive line is certainly light years from the offensive line that we all saw last season. I think will give Caleb more chance to actually be in the pocket and create from that pocket as well. Ben Johnson's also spoken as well about the fact that he aims to reduce the amount of time that he holds that Caleb holds onto the ball, the amount of times that will obviously slow down and improve the amount of sacks that he gives up as well. That is something that we will be looking at. But one move the Bears have made, and we'll talk about Ben Johnson and obviously Press Taylor and Declan Doyle and others shortly. But look, I mean, one of the big things that he has done is the signing of Case Keenum. Case Keenum obviously is an NFL veteran, a guy who seems to have been around for 1,000 years. I mean, he really does seem to have been here forever. He is someone who else has a track record as well of working well with rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks and helping them to develop. Case is 37 now, but you look at his experience. He's been with the Houston Texans, the St. Louis Rams. He's been when the Rams were the St. Louis Rams. He's been with the Los Angeles Rams, Minnesota Vikings, Denver Broncos, Washington Redskins, Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills, been back to the Texans again, and now with the Bears. And he's been added, I think, to bring that veteran presence to the quarterback room and to give Caleb, in a way, kind of like a player coach, a mentor, someone who can help him through the tough times. And, Caleb's talked, didn't he, about the other day about, actually crying after games. One, because he was hurt by the loss, and two, I think probably because the amount of smashing about that he'd taken and the beating up that he'd taken from opposition defenses. So, Case Keenum, I think, will come in and really help him through those tough times. Now, look, Caleb Williams is a supreme talent. He has the skill set to be a great quarterback. We're not doubting his talent or his ability, or the fact that he is eminently a more talented quarterback than Case Keenum. But Case Keenum brings one thing that Caleb Williams has not got, which is experience, NFL know-how, and NFL grit, something that he can put across to the young quarterback and help him through these difficult times. Case Keenum on this is what he said. He said, "I've watched all of Caleb and was blown away by the skill set. He's got everything you could possibly want in an NFL quarterback." Keenum is obviously already looking at Caleb and saying that, that he is one of the top guys that he can bring in and really make a massive, massive difference. What else did he say? He's also said, on top of this, he said, oh my, he's got everything. He's got absolutely everything you could want in that quarterback. Now, he says, I know where I am in my career and what I can bring to the team. For me, a lot of it is not just what I can do on the field. I feel like I've got some juice left and can play at a high level, but it's also about the off-the-field things you do during the off-season, workouts, relationships you build, the trust you build, and the culture that you instill. Keenum is, I think, very anxious and very much willing to work with Caleb Williams to help him develop as that NFL quarterback. Like I said, he has got past history of doing this as well. He did this with CJ Stroud, to a great degree. Obviously, when he was with the Texans, he helped CJ Stroud develop, and CJ Stroud obviously has had a very successful development in the NFL and is certainly one of the NFL's top quarterbacks now. So hopefully that's something that Case Keenum can help Caleb Williams with. That is one massive positive that the Bears have done, which is bringing in Case Keenum. Now, obviously, the other big, massive, huge lift for Caleb Williams will be when you look at the Chicago Bears coaching staff, the staff that they've brought in. Now, Ben Johnson obviously is, he's an offensive-minded quarterback, head coach. He is someone who speaks quarterback. He has the ultimate ways of really developing and investing in his quarterbacks and really improving his quarterbacks. He's a top coach in terms of the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, we don't know whether he'll be a success as a head coach. We hope he will be. But you look as well, there's Declan Doyle, there's Press Taylor, JT Barrett. These guys have all come in. These are guys that all have got massive offensive know-how. These guys can come in and can help Caleb Williams to develop as that quarterback. By giving him this ethos, giving him this background, giving him this support network that he has now got that he certainly didn't have last season, it will obviously help him to really step on to the next level. And we heard, didn't we, the other day, when we heard Caleb Williams at the podium, and he talked very much about the fact that Ben Johnson's already testing them, he's already pushing them, he's already demanding the best of them, he's already investing time in them. And I think that's something that was sadly missing last season. And certainly having, very much an offensive-minded head coach, very much a quarterback-centric head coach in Ben Johnson, and obviously the work that obviously JT Barrett, Press Taylor, and obviously Declan Doyle will also do with him as well. You've got a whole support network there now around Caleb Williams to really bring this guy on and develop him. I mean, that's what coaches are there for. That's what those vets are there for as well, to develop, to coach, to mentor, to improve these young guys. And we've now got some people in place who can help Caleb take that next step and really become that next great top NFL quarterback. Guys, let me know what you think of this story. Let me know what you think of what Case Keenum's had to say, and obviously what Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle and JT Barrett and Press Taylor can do with Caleb in the forthcoming season. Let me know your hopes for Caleb in this season. Guys, it's certainly a time to be optimistic, to be excited, and to look forward to the future. Like I keep saying, I know it's words and only actions will prove whether this is actually going to happen, but we've got to stay optimistic. We've got to stay in the positive. Thank you for watching the Bears Huddle podcast. As always, guys, let's bear down.